my god. Oh my god. We're actually going live here again. All right, so it's been a long time since I went live. Just for the beginning here, I'm gonna maybe just hang out, maybe see if some people stream in, but we're gonna get going before too long here. Welcome back to my slap bass series of the 50 basic slap bass patterns. I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing with that. What I had done before was the 50 basic slap bass patterns. I did 1 to 50. Now I'm basically just doing 51 to 100. So now I've called it 100 basic slap bass patterns. They're still the basic patterns, they're just more of them now. Another 50. There are a couple small little tweaks that I've made to the algorithm, to the system, that will, begin to clear themselves up as we go through the series. So I think that will become obvious after a little while, and it won't be too bad. The biggest thing that we're going to add to this is the slide as a stroke, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways that you can do a slide, but for this, we're actually counting it as sort of a note, I think, for the most part. 1, 2. Well, yeah, see, it's more of a transition. It's more of a slur, right? So I count that note as the slide. So 1, 2, 3. Just having a little fun because I don't want to jump right into it just too quickly for you guys, but we're going to end up doing that pretty soon anyways, like I've said. So if you guys aren't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. We're going to be doing these videos live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like internet permitting and stuff. I've actually been out of internet service in my house for the last 3 days, and it just got fixed this morning, luckily, just in time to do this live stream. So thank you to the gods of internet for letting this happen. And thanks to anybody that likes to come by, and we're going to be going over some slap bass patterns. Okay, so what is the first one? Well, let me tell you this first. If you guys want a copy written out of a PDF of the whole 100 basic slap bass patterns, this is going to be the 50 to 100 that we're going to be doing, plus a modified 1 to 50, including the different slide strokes that we left out of the last one is going to be now added into that. So it's going to be a whole different set than we did last time in the live video series. So if you want to get your hands on that, what you got to do is go into the description below and click on the link to the MailChimp website with my face on it, and it's going to take you to where you can click a button and download the PDF with all of your 100 basic slap bass patterns. So you guys can go do that before you get started, and you'll be way prepared by the time we get any of these videos. We get to all these patterns, you'll have seen them before instead of them being new for the first time. But either way, if you're first time seeing it or if you're familiar with it at all, I want you guys to come back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because we're going to be going through these together and we're going to learn from each other. The more people are here for it. So let's get started. The first one, number 51, okay? This is actually going to be perfect to illustrate a few of the differences in the second half than in the first half. The pattern is pop, slide, pop. Okay? Pop, slide, pop. Now, usually I wouldn't put two pops right next to each other like that because they require a setup, right? The second one, if you have to set it up, you run the risk of muting that slide to set it up. So you have to be pretty slick to do it on the same string smoothly. One thing you can do to help with that is change your fingers. Index finger pop, middle finger pop. And I'm just doing this mechanically like this, just to get it under the fingers, right? But once you get going with it, you want to groove with it. easy, and you start messing with it. It's a really good way to use these, especially since we're at 3-note patterns still, because we've added so many more with the slide stroke. We kind of went back to 3-note patterns. What you can do, a good way to use these shorter ones, is you don't necessarily have to make just those 3 notes the groove. Okay, this is something we're going to be doing a lot in this whole series. Is that, again, not only those 3 notes need to be the groove. So you can take a groove and just put in those 3 notes as 3 notes in that groove, or you can take a groove and use those 3 notes as a fill at the end or somewhere in the groove wherever there's a fill. Ultimately, what these patterns are good for is your repertoire and the vocabulary that you have under your fingers for the rhythms that are available to you when you're playing slap bass. If somebody's writing, if you're in a band and somebody presents you a rhythm and you want to try and do that rhythm, that was a rhythm that I was working on recently, and that has to be pretty specifically that rhythm, and if there were certain things that I wasn't able to do, I wouldn't be able to match that rhythm like that. So that's really important to go through all these patterns like that for that reason. And especially something like pop, slide, pop like that. That is so awkward in my opinion. So if you can get that down and you can turn it into something unique, because it's weird and there's probably not a lot of people out there doing that exact pattern, pop, slide, pop. So and that's what you do, guys. You can see what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't have a metronome on because I really want to be able to experiment. Okay, once I get a little more under the fingers, or if I were to choose to write something with this, make an actual riff, that's when I'm really going to put in the metronome. And just because I'm trying awkwardly to figure out this weird thing, I kind of don't do it with a metronome. But you do want to put in a metronome at some point, because you don't want, like, the reason that I'm not using a metronome is because this awkward pattern interferes with your rhythm. It kind of gives you a lot of this staccato problem. It gives you a lot of trying to not mute notes when you're doing the setups, because there's a lot of pops going on and you have to set up your pops, right? As I talk about that all the time. So doing 2 of these in a row can be awkward, and that creates a lot of the staccato problem. It can interfere with your rhythm if you don't put your finger in the right place. It can make you trip over the rhythm, and all of a sudden you're off the beat. So what are you going to do? What you do is you just get used to all the different ways that you can do it, that you feel comfortable with doing it yourself, and you get used to those patterns that are good for you. Then once you do that, you start putting it to a metronome so that you can do it without falling off the groove, All right, guys. So that's gonna be it. I'm gonna try and average these videos to be about 10 minutes because they're gonna be pretty often, and they're gonna be pretty simple. They're just gonna be something to keep us going. We're gonna work through each and every one of these patterns. We're gonna just sort of get you started on these, and then I want you guys to take this home and really nail it into your own vocabulary and your repertoire and the things that you like to do. So I'm going to get out of here for today. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys show your friends and come back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for this easy to understand slap-based vocabulary video series. We will see you guys the day after tomorrow on Friday. Thanks for joining me. And if you want a copy of the PDF, make sure you click that link below. See you later, guys.